Hello everyone and welcome back to Gran Turismo 7, back to sport mode once again for the second round of the Nations Cup. Today we're at Fuji Speedway, we're driving the Mazda3 Group 4 cars. Hard tyres the requirement for this round, no other options available, just the racing hards, and there is a mandatory pit stop as well. So yeah, it's gonna be, I think, much more my style than the Red Bulls we were racing in the previous ones. The X2019's not really my thing, those cars. But this sort of thing, I'm gonna love this. So, yeah, without further ado, let's just get into it. As I often do, let's start with the fastest lap I did in practice, and we're going to show this at double speed to save a bit of time, because this video is already going to be a very, very long one. Listen to that motor as we are zooming around. That is a unique sound. I wish the car really sounded like this. That would be quite cool. And oh my goodness, the tyre squealing through the sweeper is absolutely awful. I can only imagine what that's going to do to the front tyres throughout the race. But anyway, as we now head through the we got Alvin and the Chipmunk singing in the background. Yeah, that is hilarious. I didn't anticipate that. I didn't listen to what this would sound like until now. Anyway, through the final couple of corners, no clue what to do with those. Try and take a late apex and get a good run onto the straight, but other than that, the line through there is a mystery to me. But anyway, we're across the line. It's 1 minute 50 flat, and that's the best I could do in practice. For this round, we get now into qualifying to see if we can replicate that lap time. I know there is definitely more time in it, so you know, hopefully we can find the time we need. So we head out of pit lane and we get ready for qualifying. It's going to be one of those, I guess, same as most of the previous ones, where we're going to get two shots at a flying lap. The lap's quite long here, like I said. It's minute 50, so yeah, it's a lot to get right, really, at this circuit. And it all starts with nailing the braking point at the first corner. I very much emphasise that in my practice, to make sure I had that down and knew exactly where to apply the brakes there. Tried getting better at the final sector, didn't make much improvement. But anyway, Mike Honcho gets past us just as we are about to start our lap. I was lining up a nice wide line onto the straight, and he snuck down the inside. So that was a little inconvenient. Now we're starting our lap right behind another car. But anyway, we'll see how this goes as we head towards the first corner. And oh, he brakes super early into turn 1, and we send him into the next dimension. So that's a little unfortunate. Like I said, I have that braking point nailed, and Mike Honcho broke a lot earlier than I was expecting. So yeah, that's a little unfortunate. But anyway, they'll get another shot at it. So hopefully they can still put in a good lap later in the session. But as it turns out, that first lap wasn't too great for us anyway, so we do have to push on for a second flyer. Purple first sector at the moment, so we're looking alright through sector 1. And that's something I noticed throughout this entire round. My sector 1s, it is just that first corner, were among the best of the field. So anyway, into the sort of middle sector now. Probably cut that corner a little bit too much, didn't quite get that right, but we get away with it. You can get a penalty there if you try to cheese it too much. But anyway, up towards the back half of the track, which has been absolutely ruined since the original version. And yeah, this chicane is so tight, but it does, at least in these cars, for some people, provide an overtaking opportunity. But yeah, this last section, I've never ever known what to do here. The line through here has eluded me forever. Anyway, Speedy gets up the inside as we are making our way through the final complex, so that's not ideal. We're not getting through there quite as quickly as I would like to. Big wide line into the final corner, trying to get a good run onto the straight. Didn't quite get down to the apex, but nonetheless, we will potentially have a bit of slipstream here up to the line, and we'll see what kind of lap time we can set regardless of the little couple of mistakes on this lap. And as we come towards the line, it's a 1 minute 50.995. So that's pretty good. It'll put us at P5 in the session, so long as no one else behind makes any more improvements. But it looks like everyone among the top runners have set their times, and as the final few lap times come in, we are safely in P5. So yeah, I'll take it. That's decent enough. Mike Honcho ends up on pole position after our little mishap, so that is quite fortunate. They were able to recover from that little moment, and yeah, that's great. So with the field set in the proper order, it is time we get ready for the race itself. It's going to be interesting. Tyre wear will be a huge factor. When you make the pit stop is going to play a role as well. Undercuts could be huge. So yeah, it'll be very, very interesting to see how it all plays out. So with that said, let's get into it. The race will begin shortly. Okay, now seems like a good time. Alrighty, World Series Nations Cup Final 2023/24 Exhibition Series Season 2, Round 2. Fuji International Speedway. And then now here we are on the grid, ready to go for the race here at Fuji Speedway. It's going to be a very interesting one. Let's see where everyone lines up. On pole position we have Mike Honcho. And starting from second position we have Maka. In P3, Big Blind. And starting P4, I Have Just. And starting in fifth position, Player AT. And in P6, Obi-Wan. And in P7, Gaza. And in 8th position, Sly Dog. And starting in 9th position, Shady. And rounding out the top 10, we have Frenchie. And starting in P11, Ian W. And starting in P12, Red Hood in the Sonic car. Let's see if they are just as speedy, starting from the back of the grid. It's lights out and away we go for the race here at Fuji. And it's an alright start for us, nothing spectacular as we make our way down towards the first corner for the first time. The standing start actually caught me a little bit off guard. I wasn't quite ready for it, given that everything I had done before in nations and manufacturers have been rolling starts. But anyway, we survived the first corner, got a little bit barged out of the way, cost us a few spots. We make our way back down the inside though. We should be able to gain 6th position back here as we just about squeeze through there and get ahead of Gaza. So nice move there, and now the two ahead running side by side. We're trying to carry good speed through this right-hander, and we're not quite close enough to do anything at the moment. But in these early phases, if we just keep it clean, we should be able to make some decent progress. As right now, we have a look at replays of the start. This is the Sonic car starting off the back of the grid and getting a fantastic launch. Probably the best launch of the field, I would say. Heading now down towards turn 1, cautious on the brakes. There's a few others going a little bit late. E&W making a nice move to the inside there, and we will remain on board to see how the next few corners play out. 2 lots of 3 wide at the moment, as we gave the 2 on the outside a bit of a squeeze on the way in. But yeah, I didn't realize we were actually going 3 wide there at that moment. The 2 in front of Sonic getting into each other a little bit, and here's a nice little switch to the inside, and beautiful move there. And now tucked in behind us gaining, I think, 5 places in the first few corners. So it's been a great start for Sonic the Hedgehog in this race. On board with Slydog, a big lunge back down the inside of Sonic. Looked like a nice move until it didn't quite work, and Sonic holds on to the position. So yeah, a lot of scrapping it out on the first lap, but now on board with Sonic once again, having a look to the inside of myself as we're a little bit high and wide off the line there through the penultimate corner, but we will have the inside line for the final corner. We should be able to hold on to this. We run it out a little bit wide mid-corner intentionally there just to carry the speed in, and we get it turned back to the apex and still get a nice exit. So that worked well for us, and now we see the effects of the slipstream as the Sonic car is getting closer and closer behind us. This might be a little bit tricky to defend. Actually, they look like they're just going to give us a bump instead, and we get a little boost of straight line speed as we head down towards the first corner. Now a little look to the inside, but we actually go later on the brakes, and we'll leave a little bit of space on the inside, but Sonic the Hedgehog chooses to stay behind for the time being. So yeah, an alright first lap. We lost 1 position, yeah, that's not too bad. We can work with this. I feel like we have better pace than the cars in front, although it is hard to tell because they are all fighting away amongst themselves as we carry a lot of speed into the corner there. That might give the opportunity to Sonic behind as they look to the outside and switch it back very nicely through there, as we're now going to run side by side through the next couple of slight right-handers back on board with myself as we are over on top of the curve there, and going to just about hold off Sonic for the time being. But this is an intense little battle between us as we go very late on the brakes, trying to close the gap to the trio ahead, and we are doing that slowly but surely as they're all fighting away, and I'm doing my own bit of defense as well. But yeah, at the moment we all seem to be quite similar on pace, and we can't break away from each other, but we are getting closer as the Sonic car goes down the inside. They're not similar on pace. They are absolutely flying through the field at the moment, and will soon be setting their sights on those 3 in front. But we get a bit of a bad line through the final corner, not quite the exit I wanted, and we sort of lost touch there. So it's going to be a little bit of back and forth as we have different strengths and weaknesses around the circuit, as the Sonic car looking to the inside, trying to make some overtakes on the 3 ahead, as it looks like they're about to go 3 wide down towards the first corner. I have just in the middle, Big Blind on the inside, Obi-Wan on the outside. I have just very late on the brakes, and I think Obi-Wan is off the road as well, so that's going to be a couple of overtakes there, I think, as Big Blind manages to come out on top of there. We can't make any progress, we're a little bit too far back, but we are still well and truly in this fight, as Big Blind is now running up in 3rd position, but has the Sonic car right behind. We've seen how they've been able to make a number of overtakes earlier on, and there's another one. Little look down the inside, not quite making the move though, and they're just gonna give him a little bit of a nudge on the exit, close to contact there, but nothing serious. And now around the outside, and that is a nice move, bit of bumping between them, and this fight's going to go on for a little bit longer. Big Blind is not giving this one up as they run side by side into the chicane, ghosting into each other a little bit there, as the Sonic car has got a little bit better speed, pulls out of that, and now in the background we've also lost a position well, there's 3 cars with identical liveries, hard to tell them apart, but anyway, now through the final few corners, is there anything the Sonic car can do to get past the car in front? Big Blind still defending that position fiercely, but a good exit there from the Sonic car, and that should seal the deal with a nice run along the straight, tucking into the slipstream. And there should be a move coming up here towards the first corner. Is Big Blind going to defend down towards turn 1? They're not separated by much as they head down, and then side by side towards the first corner. The Sonic car has got the inside line. A little bit cautious on the brakes, so Big Blind all the way around the outside, and this fight will continue for another lap as they run side by side into Turn 2, big blind on the inside this time, and the Sonic car still trying to make the move around the outside, and finally gets the job done, and big blind has to slot in behind. But that battle was ongoing for an entire lap, and then some, with 3 wide going into turn 1 the lap before. But finally the Sonic car's up into 3rd position and has made fantastic progress in this race. Meanwhile, back on board with myself, I mentioned we'd dropped another position, and this is how our race is sort of going at the moment. Just a little bit tangled up in the chicane, and now we are really struggling as Frenchie gets past us as well. So yeah, we need to we need to start making overtakes, but I can't get myself into a position where I can actually make overtakes. In clean air, I'm sure I've got the pace, but for whatever reason, I just can't, find an opportunity when I'm in behind these other cars. There's no window to get past. I haven't found that place yet where I'm close enough and strong enough to get through. So yeah, it's a bit of a frustrating situation at the moment as Frenchie serves a penalty. That's unfortunate. But anyway, as we continue on, we continue to watch this trio of identical cars in front of us, all scrapping it out, all got the same livery, all got the same pace, all drive in a pretty similar way, and yeah, they're absolutely having a crack as we have a look down the inside of Slydog. Finally, we get involved in this battle. Bit of a barge through the middle there for Slydog. Doesn't work though. They end up 4th out of the 4 of us as we exit the chicane. Now we're right on the back of I Have Just as we head into the final complex, and they go a little bit deep into the first corner and run a bit wide. So let's see if we can switch this back through the left-hander and turn this into an overtake. We get through and move ourselves up one more position, but Slydog still, not Slydog, I Have Just still there, and when they managed to get a nice run through the final corner. Still get a pretty good exit despite having a very steep angle and a lot of turning left to do mid-corner there. But anyway, we do have the run down towards turn 1, so let's see if we can make this move to the outside as we head towards the first corner, and we should be able to get this done. Also notice there is some rain on the radar, though I don't think it's going to have an impact on our races. Oh, a bit of a barge to the side there, and that was not very nice at all, and we cannot make that move around the outside. They said absolutely no way, Jose, you're not getting through there, and yeah, now we've got the work to do once again. But we're now 3rd in the queue, so we have made some progress nonetheless. So yeah, we'll see if we can get through any further. We will be thinking about our pit stop soon. It is lap 5 of 10, so theoretically this is the time to make that stop as Obi-Wan goes very wide. Let's see if we can make the move now down the inside of I Have Just. They didn't see us coming on the inside there, and we still make our way through. Now we've got the run on Obi-Wan as well, so we might just be able to put ourselves in a bit of clear air if we can get through. We don't though. Obi-Wan goes very deep, and now lunge down the inside there, but they get through quite nicely in the end, and that was a good move from I Have Just. So yeah, there's a lot of late braking going on in this little battle pack, but so far we've been able to keep it clean, and we're gradually making our way through. But like I said, we're going to come into the pits on this lap anyway, so yeah, we should be able to put ourselves in clean air, potentially get the undercut on I Have Just, because these 3 are going to keep fighting it out as we head into the pits. And I Have Just coming in as well, and they cross the pit entry line. That is going to be a 3-second penalty for them, and that's pretty much going to drop them out of the battle pack regardless. We have a fairly safe entry into pits. We'll put a new set of the hard compound tyres on and check back in with Sonic, see what's going on with the fastest car on track. There's a deep moment there for the car in front, and Sonic's able to get through very easily on Macca. So yeah, that's a nice easy move there for the number 1 car, and now Mako is coming under pressure from a big blind behind. As we get into our box, let's see, we will drop down significantly, of course. Not everyone making their stops now. There's a few in pit lane, but anyway, we come out of pit lane. I have just still right in front of us, but they, like I said, will have a penalty to serve for cutting the pit entry line, or maybe not. That's curious. Anyway, more pit stops going on as we look a little bit further back. This is Frenchie coming out of pit lane, and that is Shady in the monster car on the outside. Bang! Straight into the side. But no harm done. Now I'll continue on. It's a little bit of a tricky pit exit as you come out right on the hairpin there, and that shows it. Meanwhile, the battles continue between Obi-Wan and Sly Dog, and they're still getting into each other. So yeah, nothing's changed with these two, as myself and I have just trying to get the undercut. Meanwhile, also we have Ian W coming under pressure from Maka, and Ian W leaves it high and wide, then tangles a little bit on the apex of the chicane with Maka, so that was a little awkward moment. I believe Ian W is yet to stop in this race. They qualified somewhere down the back, P11 I believe, as we are making our way through the laps and passing those who have stopped. And now as we continue on, 8th position, we are closing in to the car in front, which is I Have Just. Apparently they didn't get a penalty for crossing the pit entry lane. They may have been, well, they must have been just within the limits. So a lucky escape for them as they go a little bit deep. It's just going to give us the opportunity. We didn't get a great run through there ourselves, but we are closer now. So we're going to be close enough by the time we get to turn 2 to do anything. It doesn't look like it, but maybe through turn 3 if we can get the run. It's it's a constant battle here to try to always make sure you're sticking to the correct lines. As soon as the car in front does something a bit wrong, it's very, very easy to follow. And we got a good run through turn 3, trying to get into the left-hander nicely, and we've sort of lost out a bit there. And, it's the ongoing sort of back and forth that just continues on. Anyway, the fight for positions further up, as Sonic is on the back of Obi-Wan, who is in the lead but yet to stop. I think Sonic got past Mike Honcho, who led from the start, just on strategy, and now it is Sonic on the back of Obi-Wan, as Obi-Wan has not made that pit stop yet. It's getting a bit late in the race, so they better get into pit soon, or the new tyres won't be serving them any good. Down the inside goes Sonic, and gets the job done nicely there on Obi-Wan. So yeah, Obi-Wan needs to get that stop done now, actually, because it is lap 9. So it's literally now or never. And if you don't pit, you get the 1 minute penalty, which ruins your race. Speaking of penalties ruining races, that might just cost me my opportunity to chase down I Have Just, because we cut the left-hander a little bit too much, and that ain't gonna work for us, as we will have to serve that on the straight. Mike Honcho on the back of Obi-Wan now, as they make their way around the last couple of corners, and Mike Honcho trying to make that move, and around the outside as they head towards through the final corner. Nice switch to the inside, gets the job done there. And now is the key question: is Obi-Wan going to make a pit stop, or are they going to continue their move across the pit? No, they're not. Obi-Wan has missed the opportunity to pit, and they're going to choose to continue fighting it out with Mike Honcho, and it just isn't going to work because they will have to serve that 1 minute penalty. So that is massive. That'll give literally everyone else in the race a free position once they cross the finish line, because that 1 minute penalty is something you cannot recover from. Here's our penalty being served. We're actually pretty close to I Have Just there, so that's kind of frustrating to have that penalty, but that's fair. We did cut that corner quite massively, so yeah, annoying, but that's how it went. And now on the final lap, we are out of opportunities. But across the line in P1, it is Sonic the Hedgehog. Brilliant drive. And P2 will go the way of my Concho. Big Blind will take third position. Obi-Wan crosses the line, but will not be there realistically. And then here comes the crew further back. The whole battle pack that we were, well and truly embedded in. But we cross the line P7, we'll get P6 with the penalty for Obi-Wan, and then a bit of a gap back to Gaza, who's going to come across the line in P11. Will be elevated to round out the top 10 with Obi-Wan's penalty, and then that should be the field, I think, as we still have Ian W coming around to finish the race down at the back, but we'll gain one spot for Obi-Wan's penalty, and we'll take P11, and that rounds out the finishers. So a pretty intense race, really. It was a pretty dense pack here in the midfield. Obviously I have just within 2 seconds in front of us. That could have been less without that penalty. Maka not far ahead as well, and then obviously a bigger gap to those further up for the top 3. But yeah, then Shady behind, Sly Dog as well, not far back, and Frenchie. The whole lot of us separated by around 5.5 seconds, and that's over 6 cars. So yeah, just over a second between each car on average. Very, very, very close. So, we'll all be thinking we should have been 4th in that race, really. But yeah, that didn't quite work for 5 of us. But anyway, that's still not a bad result. But I've already decided that I want to go again. 6-star elite ticket, that's not too bad. But yeah, I've already decided I'm going to go again. We'll save that replay, of course, as always. And of course you've already seen all the angles from that. But yeah, for P6 we get 9 points, and that's another thing. This was a fairly low points scoring race. The winner got 12 points, so I think we can do better. So we're going to go again straight away and see what we can do this time. Unfortunately, my idea about this being a low point scoring race didn't really work, because this one is slightly lower. But if we finish in the top 5, as is my target, we can certainly increase our points haul, or maintain our points haul rather. Top 4 will increase it. So yeah, let's hope that that we can do that. But of course, it all starts with qualifying. So yeah, once again, we need to try and get a lap together in qualifying to set ourselves up for the race. So let's do this one more time and see if we can string a lap together here at Fuji Speedway. It was an average session last time, so I think we can do better. I think if we get a perfect lap, we can crack into the 49s, which we actually did during the race, by the way, but yet to do it in qualifying. So that's kind of interesting how that works. Anyway, we come out of pit lane for our qualifying lap, or for our out lap rather, and we've got Dolan in front of us. A couple of new names in this one, a couple we've seen before. I saw Batman on the list, I think, so that is one name familiar from Bathurst. I think we saw them, as Dolan doesn't know where the track goes and goes a bit wide there, so we'll make our way through there. But anyway, as we come around to start our flying lap, we are right in behind Skeeter, so that's a little bit of an annoying thing to have this happen twice in a row in qualifying, starting our lap right behind someone. I even tried to make some space, but it's just how things go sometimes. You just end up behind someone. But anyway, we will race our way down towards turn 1. Now we are going a little bit earlier on the brakes this time, just to make sure we don't pump the car in front, and it works out alright for us. May cost us a bit of time, but it looks like Skeeter has got decent enough pace in qualifying, so it shouldn't impact our session, and sometimes actually go better with the car to follow. They go a bit wide there though, and now we're getting into an awkward situation because we're quicker through here to try and go for a little bit of a higher line just to do something a bit different, and we'll get it turned back to the right and set up the next left-hander, and through there, probably losing a little bit as always. Not a strong corner for me. Using that exit curve there as well, I'm starting to I guess sort of experiment with I guess how you can take that, but anyway, we are going a little bit too cautiously into the chicane. I think we probably could have carried a bit better speed into there, so that's probably cost us a bit more time. We lost a bit to Skeeter there, and now into the final complex. They're racing like it's the race itself there now, so glad we're not quite involved in that, but I'm going very slowly through here as we get a good run, and we should be able to make a little move here down the inside. Again, not really what we want to be doing in qualifying, but we have to make this overtake and get through to continue on our lap, and we do make that cleanly, and we'll see what that does to our overall lap time, but it gave us a very tight line through the final corner and a bad exit onto the straight. It's still going to be a 1 minute 50, but it's still not quite a time that I want. Unfortunately, the next lap was absolutely awful, and we're not going to be gaining anything out of this one as we wobble back onto the road. And speaking of road and Nitro Road, we'll be getting a nice little slipstream towards the finish line for a moment there. But anyway, we cross the line. We're P6, so it's alright, I guess. It's not fantastic. P7 as I think a SpongeBob pops up into the top 5, but yeah, nothing special. But again, it's a position we can work from, and it sure is better than starting off the back row. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. We are 1.637 off pole, so yeah, we're again probably not going to be in the running for the race win, but if I can come away with the top 5, I'll be very, very happy, and we're very close in pace to those in the top 5, just losing out by just over 1/10 of a second. So yeah, we're really not far off. So yeah, I think we can have a good race here. Let's see how it all goes, but yeah, I'm optimistic heading into this one. So without further ado, I think it's time we get into it. Attempt 2 at the Nations Round at Fuji Speedway. Well, there it is again, World Series Nations Cup Final 2023/24 Exhibition Series Season 2, Round 2, Fuji International Speedway. Well, here we are on the grid once again, ready to go for attempt number 2. We're all flashing the headlights ready for this one. Let's check out the starting grid. Off pole position, it is going to be Meep Meep Peep. And starting in P2, Skeeter for R34. And in P3, J Racer. And starting off 4th position, JHP. And starting in P5, SpongeBob in the Hello Kitty livery. And starting in P6, Guido. And in P7, we have myself, McPlayer8T. And starting in P8, Dolan 1P Kiwi. And in P9, Chumbawamba. And starting out at 10th position, it is going to be Nitro Road Racer. And in P11, Batman. And starting P12, Jono T. 13th on the grid will be Beachy 444. Then it will be G Letitia rounding off the grid. Now it is time to get going as we count down to the start. We're underway once again for the race here at Fuji. A great start for us, and that was an absolutely superb launch. SpongeBob went nowhere off the start. We're ahead of JHP as well as we head down towards the first corner. And now we're late on the brake. We've been hit from behind though, off into the grass and a full 360. And that has gone terribly, terribly wrong as we get back on the road once again. But we're down in second last position. Somehow Nitro Road Racer is at a worse start than us. But that has absolutely not gone to plan as we now try to close into this field once again. Thankfully they were trying to go about 12 wide into turn 2, so that did allow us to catch up a little bit of lost time. But JHP, who started in front of us, you can see in that very shiny car there, has dropped back as well. So yeah, there's been a lot of chaos down towards the first corner. We need to unpick that, but we're in the midst of things once again, so we'll see if we can recover from that disastrous start as we take a look down the inside of Batman. JHP early on the brakes, Batman late, and we sort of find ourselves in the middle of things as we just try and weave through the chaos here. We get past both Batman and Beachy 444, who were all over the place back there. So a couple of spots regained for us as John O.T. gives SpongeBob a little bump. Thanks, mate. That's going to help us catch up. There's a car backwards there. Didn't quite see who that was, but this has been a chaotic first lap. SpongeBob tries to give us a little bump on the way through there. Completely fails and just goes through us. So that's fun. As we exit the final corner, we are back up into 9th position. John O.T. has a penalty, so that'll put us up into P8, and there's a car in pit lane. That's J Racer, and they're going to drop down. So by the time we finish the first lap, we are right back where we started in P7, but with plenty of work left to do. On board with SpongeBob off the start. Terrible start, among the worst of the field, and then into the first corner. Let's see what happens here. No attempt to slow down, and just rams us off the road. So that's absolutely brilliant. Really appreciate that. Thank you, SpongeBob. Anyway, out of the exit of turn 1, and they've got JHP right behind them. A brake check on the way to turn 2, and that's cost JHP about 2, 3, 4 spots, hard to count as they continue to drop back. But yeah, that is an absolute disaster. So 2 significant incidents in the space of 1 corner for SpongeBob. So yeah, it's a fantastic start. The TCA going around the outside absolutely fails to take out them and rejoins the circuit, and we'll get on with life. But yeah, this is ridiculous. Late on the brakes, again ghosting through the cars in front. Yeah, this is some brilliant driving that we are witnessing here. Look at this. JHP full send there, trying to get back through, making up for lost time. John O.T. in behind says, you know what, I've had enough of you, you can get out of here, and sends SpongeBob off the road. Good job. And that is Dolan facing the wrong way, and we managed to get through on SpongeBob here. SpongeBob tries to take us out again, and absolutely fails. So yeah, this is a masterful display of driving here as SpongeBob is trying to get back down the inside. They have a 5-second penalty at this point, and tries to take us out just before the penalty line. Does not work, and yeah, this is ridiculous. I mean, again, tries to take out several people while they're serving a penalty, not working, and now they've sent themselves hurtling down the order when they are among the faster people on track. So yeah, that's very intelligent driving. Anyway, we're on board with JHP off the start. They got a really bad launch off the line down into turn 1. They had cars going every which way. They did a great job to get through there very cleanly, but yeah, ended up in the unfortunate position behind the Hello Kitty car. And there's the brake check on board with JHP. And you can just see what the cost is. Letitia around the outside, more cars barging through on the inside, and JHP just left with nowhere to go in that situation. No way to recover from that. Back on the inside of Beachy though, as they're banging doors on the way through. Not going to make that move stick though, as Beachy's laid enough on the brakes on the inside, and the frustrations just build for JHP. We have another look at the start, this time on board with Chumbawamba, because there was a lot more going on behind us than what we already seen. So this is Chumbawamba. You can see much better start, and big miss of the braking points, I guess that is there, into the first corner. Thankfully doesn't take anyone out, and sort of actually makes that work. But yeah, that was a scary moment for sure for Chumbawamba, but they managed to make it work and gain a few spots out of it with the mishaps for those up ahead, as they just about stay ahead there of the identically liveried car of Guido. Later in the lap on board with Chumbawamba, you can see a big move down the inside for Letitia on Dolan. Dolan was the one who got spun around, and that was a really weird incident. Sort of got sandwiched there between Letitia and I didn't see who that was on the outside, as they're all running wide out of the final corner. But yeah, there was a 3-into-1 situation there that just didn't quite work. So yeah, that's really unfortunate. On board with Nitro Road and down towards turn 1, what happens here? Oh, squeezing through the gap there for Chumbawamba, and Nitro Road gets caught up in it and is the one who comes off worst out of the first corner. See us recovering from our off just up the road, but yeah, that's what happened to Nitro Road and how they ended up so far back. But anyway, we also have this on board with John O.T. Earlier on, so let's see what we see from this perspective. Nitro Road just up the road, and oh, whack. So there was more to that story, and Nitro Road got a huge hit from behind, and that is ultimately what sent Nitro into the back of Chumbawamba and eventually into the spin. So yeah, that's an unfortunate one. Just yeah, a few people too late on the brakes, missing braking points, punting people off, whatever the case may be. And yeah, really has spoiled the race for a few people, and that's a bit racy between these two, as they are getting into each other. Skeeter, we are on board with, trying to make the move on J Racer, and eventually does get that move done. But J Racer was getting very bumpy with that one. Tries to get back through. That ain't gonna work though, and Skeeter has got this one under control. Here's another replay of Dolan. No, we'll see if we can look at this one in more detail. And just it's so strange to see a front-wheel drive car spin around that violently. I think what it was is Dolan was already sort of leaning on the car on the outside, and then the contact from Letitia on the inside was, you know, the tipping point, I suppose. We go on board with Letitia and we'll see what it looked like from this angle. You know, good run down the inside, already through on Dolan, but quite slow on the apex, you know, trying to give room on the outside, of course, on the exit. But in the end, that led them to the same place at the same time. Here's the on board with Dolan. Actually went off to take avoiding action from the cars in front, goes down the inside of Guido, and yeah, didn't really have anywhere to go there. Guido was on the outside, obviously not realizing that they're about to meet at the apex 3 wide, and yeah, Dolan ends up the one facing the wrong way. So yeah, I think that was just a bit of an unfortunate one. I don't think there's anyone, you know, necessarily to blame there. Nothing wrong with Letitia's move, I don't think, but they all just converged at the same point. Here's the onboard with John O.T. and little bump. G'day SpongeBob. Goodbye SpongeBob. And we get through as well. So that was helpful for us, and potentially saved us from more future dramas with the Hello Kitty car. And yeah, put us up into, I believe it was 8th position at the time. before J Racer came into the pits, and there's the attempt to take us out as Jono T serves the penalty at the line there. So yeah, it was an eventful first lap. Here is the happenings of the final corner. J Racer off the road, as well as Guido, and Letitia gets through on the pair of them. So easy moves for the car that started last in this race. And then here's what happened to J Racer. I said he went into the pits, but that was about as late as you could possibly call it, and that will be a 3-second penalty to pit that late. So unusual strategy for J Racer. I guess we'll see how it goes as we are on board with Guido, who made an absolute mess of a chicane there. Drops in behind JHP, back on board with myself now. And this is now the second lap of the race, by the way. And we are going to make the move on Guido and get through up one more position into P6. So we are running well at the moment. Not sure where J Racer will shake out at the end of all this, but you know, P6, P7, after the start we've had, I'll certainly take it. But JHP is our next target, so we'll see if we can chase down the shiniest car on the circuit. Meanwhile, up the road, that is a move going on there. Jono T passing Batman, and off the road there, that is Beachy 444. And what on earth happened there? They just got reset, but that was weird to see them that far off the road, and there was a certain amount of SpongeBob involved in that one, and that's just very, very unfortunate for Beachy 444, and that's going to cost them a lot of time, and they start to fall into the clutches of Dolan, who we just saw pointing the wrong way about a lap ago. So it's unfortunate, as a wide moment there, and that's going to cause a bit of chaos as Beachy is moving across, trying to force Dolan off the road, ends up pushing themselves off the road. So yeah, that's there's been a bit of questionable driving in this one, but Dolan's through and Beachy drops in behind. Anyway, back on board with myself. We've got Nitro Road coming up alongside us, trying the outside line, where it'll be able to hold off that one though. And that's a wide moment for JHP, and Chumbawamba rather off the road as well up there. So a few people still struggling with turn 1 as we look to the inside. Nothing we can really do there as JHP goes wide. Almost called him PhD as we sit now in the slipstream through the corner. Can we do anything about JHP into the hard left-hander? We're going to go late on the brakes to try and get this move done. JHP sends it in and manages to hold on to the position. So yeah, nicely done there, and we are stuck behind for a little bit longer. And I get the sense that the cars behind us are probably starting to grow a little bit impatient, seeing as I've been stuck in this position behind JHP for quite a while, and just again being cautious there. And Nitro Road sends it up the inside, and Ghosts their way through, but it was a fair enough move as we were just caught a little bit off guard. Guido tries full send, doesn't work out, and we will immediately take that position back. But yeah, that's dropped us into P7 at the moment, and we continue to struggle with the final sector as we're a little bit side by side with Guido there, and just about keeping it on the road. Guido was not leaving us a ton of room to work with, but it's all good. We've held on to the position, and we will finish the lap in P7. And we're only at the end of lap 3, so there's still so much left to play out in this race as we go on board and look to the outside alongside on board with Guido towards turn 1. And this is very, very, very tight, and we'll just about hold on, but we left a perfect car width there on the outside. I know I'm sure we've got better pace than Guido. I don't know about Nitro, because Nitro's been very quick, as SpongeBob has yet another fail at taking out a few of our fellow competitors. And there's another one. Semi succeeds that time and actually doesn't completely go through the car. But yeah, this is just silly. How a driver who qualified so well is trying to take out the people running at the back of the field and not doing a very good job of it. I do not know. This is just silly. But anyway, this is what we have to deal with. SpongeBob, John O.T. and Batman now entering the mix, all fighting it out for P Nowhere at the back of the field. And yeah, they are just... well, SpongeBob in particular is costing these two so much time when they could probably just be driving up the road. And I think I know what's going to happen here. There we go, brake check for John O.T. And now Batman falls in line, and I get the feeling there's another one. Honestly, I don't know how Batman didn't see that coming, to be honest. That's on him at that point. But anyway, SpongeBob holds on for a little bit longer from the two behind. But theoretically, SpongeBob should be just pulling away, but they're choosing not to do that. Meanwhile, we look to Letitia in third position, trying to make it second as they chase down Skeeter in the Red Bull liveried car, as the race leader Meep Meep Peep goes a bit wide, and they'll be under pressure soon because Letitia has been flying, but now looking to make the move down the inside of Skeeter into turn 1. May already have it done before they even get to the braking zone. It'll be close, but I think there won't be any defending from Letitia, who's gone from the back and is now trying to take a second place, and it's late on the brakes for the Red Bull car and a little bit off the road there, so they'll lose that one, I think, unless they can continue this fight into turn 2. Looks like they might be able to, actually being able to carry some good momentum along the second straight, but falls in behind, and Letitia takes second place. It's been a very solid drive so far, and Meep Meep Peep is going to be feeling the pressure very, very soon from Letitia as they head into the left-hander. The Skeeter's still looking around, and there's a deep moment there for Meep Meep Peep, and Letitia gets through, and now has no one ahead, has stormed through the field, and I think we'll soon be taking off into the distance. On board once again with myself as we find ourselves again behind JHP, and what's going on here? JHP's scrapping it out. We've been hit from behind there. Nitro Road and JHP fighting away as Guido is still trying to get past myself. We came in from a very wide angle there, so did Guido actually, and then super late on the brakes, just testing the limits there as we were turning into the apex. And yeah, couldn't quite get a stop before making contact, but no harm done, and we continue on. But that's a perfect example of actually why I think the incident with Dolan at the start on lap 1 is so unusual, because that was, you know, basically a pit maneuver that we got there, and it was absolutely fine. I actually did hardly feel it at the time. So yeah, it's strange. But anyway, we're on the back of JHP now onto the main straight, and this time we actually have a good run, and for the first time in a while we might be able to challenge JHP. So let's see if we can make this move down the inside, heading towards turn 1. We're side by side. JHP's in the slipstream, and you can see how much difference that makes, as I was considering slotting back in behind, but we ultimately need to be out here to make the move. We go later on the brakes, and we go just a little bit too deep, and that might cost us the position. I underestimated how bad it would be off circuit there, and that costs us the position to JHP as well as Guido, as we drop down into P8. So that's a little bit unfortunate. I should have got that move done. That just, yeah, was a little bit clumsy. I should have, you know, made more of an effort to actually turn the corner. I didn't think running off the road there would be that bad, but anyway, it's done now, and we've lost those couple of spots, but we'll see what we can do. We'll fight back from this. I'll pit on this lap anyway. Might be able to get an undercut on a couple of these guys, and that might bring us back into it, because right now we're at the back of the train. Meanwhile, Nitro Road and JHP scrapping it out through the chicane, and JHP actually getting back through there. So yeah, it's back and forth battle between many of us here, and Nitro Road really dropping back actually, so it's not been a good few corners as Guido is through as well. So yeah, that you know, all of these all of this fighting is definitely going to, you know, help us if that continues. Meanwhile, SpongeBob is still not doing a very good job of taking people out of the race, as Batman there is getting involved. There's a bit more of a significant hit, didn't really seem to do much though, and SpongeBob is still in amongst this little pack with Jono and Batman not making any progress in the Hello Kitty car. So yeah, this is what racing at the back of the field is like in this particular race. These two probably have just about had enough of SpongeBob by now, I think. But anyway, we'll see what happens as they head along the straight once again. And I wouldn't be surprised if they pull into pits. SpongeBob thought about it, and look at this. This is some racing going on here. Batman trying to avoid the brake checks from SpongeBob as they're continuing to switch left and right over and over again, and finally Batman gets the overlap and it gets through on SpongeBob. Nicely done there along the straight. Big hit from the rear though, and Batman goes straight ahead of turn 1, and nothing he could have done about that. And Jono's through on SpongeBob, so once again that's kind of a fail because still SpongeBob ended up losing a position. But anyway, SpongeBob now on the back of Jono T. No penalties for any of this nonsense that's been going on. Nothing at all. It's kind of ridiculous. Anyway, SpongeBob down the inside of Jono and completely fails again off the road at the sweeper. But again, fails at the next left-hander. Can't quite get the job done there. And now Batman's getting back involved. So, yeah, I don't even know what to say about this. SpongeBob is just not even trying to make any progress. Like, that's all there is to say. Like, that car has more pace than what is being shown. They qualified 5th. And, I mean, look at where they are now. P11. And not making progress at all. It's kind of, I don't know. It's just ridiculous. There's nothing else to say. But anyway, let's see what happens this time around as we look to the leaders. Letitia in first position and moving across to head into pit lane, and will be the first of the lead group to head into pit lane and get their pit stop sorted. Meet Me Peep stays out for another lap. Skeeter comes in to the pits, and then cutting the line there very clearly for Chumbawamba, and a few others heading on Nitro Road into the pits as well, cutting the pit entry line. We have a zooming entry into pit lane there. That was a nice way to save some time. But back to Jono T, SpongeBob and Batman, and this lot are all still quite close together. I think SpongeBob's a little bit too far back to go full send on Jono into turn 1, but Batman's closing in, and now they're side by side heading up towards turn 1 in the braking zone. They're moving across, and that is SpongeBob spinning into the barriers, and that is a big one for SpongeBob in the Hello Kitty car. And after that they immediately decided to quit. So yeah, that was something. But anyway, SpongeBob out of the race now, and race ruined for Batman and Jono T. We just saw myself and Nitro heading into the pit lane. Here's what it looked like from my onboard. Just, yeah, getting that entry pretty much perfect on that occasion. Nitro cutting the line and not getting the correct line through pit entry chicane. Costing a bit of time, and of course we'll have to serve a 3-second penalty for cutting the pit entry line. So it's unfortunate for Nitro Road as we look to the outside on pit exit. We find a gap and we go for it all the way around the outside of Nitro Road, and it pays off and we make the move stick. Wow, that is the move of the race for me. Nitro was very respectful not to push me wide there, because that'd be very easy to do on cold tyres out of pit lane on the inside line when you're so tight on the apex like that. But we're able to swing it around the outside and take that position. And yeah, I don't know how we managed to snag that one, but it worked. And yeah, just got late enough on the brakes, and we left each other just enough room to do what we needed to do through the corner. And yeah, that was a nice move. I was very, very happy with that, and that puts us in clear air, and that's why it's so important as Dolan wobbles off the road at the first corner, just ahead of J Racer, who we saw pit at the start of the race. They run down at the back of the pack. Back on board with myself along the main straight, Chumbawamba serving that 3-second penalty, and that could give us another position here as we make the move along the straight, and that's an easy move there up into now P7 as Guido comes out of pits. A bit too deep though into the braking zone, and that's going to be another position. So, you know, these little pit stop related mistakes are costly, and they are helping us when everyone else makes those such mistakes. Let's have a little run through the order at the moment. JHP leads the way but still needs to stop. Letitia is in reality the race leader. Then it's Meep Meep Peep in third position, just come out of pits on this lap. Then in P4 it's John OT, also running out of sync ahead of Skeeter, and further back we also have myself, who obviously we just saw Guido in behind to go off the road. Behind Guido comes Chumbawamba, and then it is Nitro Road. And then further back we have Dolan, and Dolan obviously with that spin at the start really put them out of contention, and is still you know, trying to recover from that. And then Batman next in line, also having to make a pit stop, or after making a pit stop, and then J Racer at the back of the field. And yeah, Batman obviously after all the battling with SpongeBob was never going to have particularly great track position after that pit stop. But back to JHP, a bit deep into the chicane, very deep in fact, and Letitia gets through, takes the lead. JHP still needs to make a pit stop anyway, but yeah, they're starting to make a few mistakes, so it might be time to change those front tyres. On board with Guido, who has a penalty to serve, 3 seconds, and that costs 2 whole positions. And you know, Guido being you know, fairly close behind us before that, we'll be feeling that one. And you know, it kind of shows you know, you lose 2 positions for that 3-second penalty in that situation at least. So it's a heavy price to pay. J Racer overcooks pit entry as into each other. We have John OT and Skeeter, and that is going to get a little bit racy between these two. Remember, John OT still needs to make a pit stop. Probably not the happiest driver on the track at the moment after all the run-ins with SpongeBob, but Skeeter should be able to get through here, and does so nicely in the Red Bull car. So good move, and these two can race on. And Jono, of course, like I said, still needs to make another pit stop. On board with J Racer out of the pit lane, and cuts pit exit line as well, and now has a 6-second penalty to deal with for that one. Back to John OT, who enters the pit lane, and that will be the entire field bar JHP, who is still running towards the front of the field with a pit stop to make. But with all of that done, we are up into 5th position. So I said I wanted a top 5. We needed a top 5 to maintain our points from the previous race, and we are currently in that position. We're not under too much pressure from behind. I know they're, you know, fairly quick customers, but I feel like I've got the pace to maintain this position. So really, it's just a matter of where JHP comes out when they finally make their stop, and they're running out of opportunities at this point, so they really do need to come into the pit lane, but they are not going to do that. They're staying out yet again and maintaining 2nd position. But you know, if they get that 1-minute penalty for not pitting, it's going to be disastrous for their race, and they're going to drop to the back. We saw it in the previous one, and with Obi-Wan, and it's going to happen again. JHP has started the final lap and has not pit, so that'll effectively put us up into P4, which would be a mega result. I'd be super happy with that. So all we need to do really is just keep it on the road, don't make any mistakes, and we should have this all under control. So yeah, it's pretty much smooth sailing from here. There's no one around us, not even any lapped cars. Not that there's too much of an issue in this race, but yeah, we are well on our way to a decent points haul and a good result all the same. So yeah, this has been a very, very fun race. Coming back through the field after that run-in with SpongeBob at turn 1 has been really, really awesome. I wonder what we could have done without that, but we'll never know. But up the road, Letitia and J Racer as well come through the final corner. J Racer about to go a lap down, but Letitia, a brilliant drive, and for the second race in a row, the driver who starts last will finish first as Letitia makes their way towards the line and crosses it in P1. J Racer will finish a lap down. Coming towards the line in second position will be JHP, but they've got a 1 minute penalty to serve, so the real second place finisher will be Meep Meep Peep ahead of a Skeeter in third. And then we come towards the line at P4, not far behind that lot. It was really a close battle, and then the rest of the field come across the line. All of these drivers could have probably, done slightly better with less penalties or, less mistakes. It's been a close field. I am, making this look perhaps a little bit closer than it really was. Especially Batman, lost a lot of time with all the fighting away with SpongeBob and John O.T. as well. You've lost a lot of time in that, so yeah, it's a shame, but that's how it has gone. Anyway, on board with myself across the line, and yeah, that is P4 for us. Unbelievable. I can't believe after the start we had that we've had this drive. I mean, we were 25 seconds off the lead, 10 seconds off the next car, but I mean, we lost a fair chunk of that at the first corner alone, and then the time we lost behind JHP as well in the traffic in the earlier laps. I do wonder if a podium was on the cards, but we will never know. Still, I am very, very happy with the way that race went. Aside from turn 1, I couldn't ask for any more. That was a really, really fun race for me, and everyone else, except for the one Hello Kitty Mazda, raced very, very well. So yeah, it was really cool. But that is going to do it for this one. So I will say thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I really do appreciate it. Please feel free to give some feedback in the comments. It is always very helpful. Other than that, actually one more thing, we do get 1 more point in this one than we did in the previous one, 10 points for P4. But anyway, like I was saying, that's all for this one. I'll see you in the next one, and goodbye.